We got a big presidential Social Security update. 3 different presidential candidates, 3 different Social Security plans. The Libertarian presidential candidate is calling Social Security a bankrupt Ponzi scheme. Meanwhile, one economist says that if Trump wins, there could be big risks to Social Security. And take a look at this article. As Harris and Trump lob Social Security Medicare claims about each other, you're not going to want to miss what is being said here. And we're hearing something from a former senator.
Take Social Security, for example. It's a relatively easy problem to solve. You are going to have to raise some additional revenue. I personally would like to see lower income beneficiaries get more rather than less. 40% of them right now, that's all they've got for income is Social Security. You're also going to have to make adjustments in the benefits. And for you that are covering this thing, the first thing that will happen.
I'll play the full video clip of that and give you some other details as well. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. So, Libertarian presidential candidate Chase Oliver says that Social Security is a bankrupt Ponzi scheme. Now, to be honest, I didn't even know who Chase Oliver, the Libertarian presidential candidate, was until I found this. Just for looking up Social Security. But the thing is, he's a little different than the other presidential candidates. Here's what he has to say. Let me get to the Social Security part. All right, so he says, Oliver said he believes Social Security is an unstable Ponzi scheme and calls it for it to be replaced with a program based on market investment, saying it's bankrupt. It's a Ponzi scheme. We've paid into the system. We don't get out what we were promised. And ultimately, it's going to be belly up because the math just doesn't work. And so it has failed. It is a failed federal program. Much like many federal programs, it costs too much and it doesn't deliver. And I think it's better for us younger voters, or for younger folks especially, to be given our money back so we can invest in the marketplace. I don't want to take it away from my parents or grandparents who are living on those benefits, but I'm never going to get those benefits even if I pay until the day I retire. So he is definitely speaking to the younger voters there. Really curious, what are your thoughts on this take when it comes to Social Security? Is it just a messed up system? Voters like me or citizens like me are not going to get Social Security when we're older. What are your thoughts there? Moving on. Social Security warning issued by economists if Donald Trump wins. Risks. What is the big risk if Donald Trump wins? So, according to this, let me get to the part. So, what he's saying is that privatization of Social Security implies that while higher returns are probable, it also comes with market risks and might undermine the income guarantee side of Social Security. So basically, what they're saying is that if Trump becomes president, he's going to privatize Social Security, which he's never spoken about ever. So I'm not really sure where they're getting this from. But to be fair, a lot of the actually not even a lot, a few of the Republicans in former President Trump's party have spoken about the privatization of Social Security. But former President Trump has never spoken about privatization of Social Security. So yeah, that's the risk, if you want to even call it a risk. So I just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people see the headlines, they don't really read into it further. Next one, Harris and Trump lob Social Security and Medicare claims. The vice president wrongly says Project 25 calls for cutting Social Security, while Trump falsely says she cut Medicare by billions of dollars. You're not going to want to miss this. First take a listen to what the former senator has to say about Social Security.
What's the solution here? Because in Donald Trump's answer to the debt question, he did eventually go on to immigration. When President Biden was talking about the national debt question, that was the question where he froze up and ended up saying, "We beat Medicare." In your op-ed for the Washington Post, this is what you said for a possible solution. We don't need another commission. We need the president and Congress to do their patriotic duty and lead. What does that leadership look like?
You're going to have to come first. You have to come to the American people and tell them the truth. You can't come and dodge this. You got to say, here are the facts, and it's not complicated. It's not like a cure for cancer. It's a relatively straightforward problem. We're spending X, and we from taxes we're generating, I don't know, X minus 5% or 6% or something like that. We're going to borrow another $1 trillion this year, I believe, to cover the difference. And the only way we can solve that problem is be aware that we got to keep the economy growing. All of us want the economy to grow. So you got to look for a way to generate additional revenue. Take Social Security, for example. It's a relatively easy problem to solve. You are going to have to raise some additional revenue. I personally would like to see lower income beneficiaries get more rather than less. 40% of them right now, that's all they've got for income is Social Security. You're also going to have to make adjustments in the benefits. And for you that are covering this thing, the first thing that will happen for every single time there's proposals to fix Social Security, the people will be turning out their heads saying, Bob Kerrey wants to move the retirement age back. That's not true. There's no such thing as a retirement age any longer. We eliminated the need to quit work in order to get Social Security benefits. You don't have to retire to get Social Security. There's an early, there's a normal, and there's a late benefit. That is true, and those are going to have to be moved a bit. So you're spending and you got revenue, and you got to balance the two out. And it's supposed to be covered for all, all generations. 75 years it's supposed to be covered, and it's not even coming close. It's just not fair, and not fair. And so you got to come and say we can solve this problem. We're going to have to reduce the benefits a bit. We're going to have to generate some additional revenue. We can keep our economy growing. We can make Social Security even more fair than it currently is. But we got to be brave. We got to think of those men who landed at Normandy, 80 years ago, and say we've got to act the same way, because it is going to take courage. It's not going to be easy. And the American people have to recognize and appreciate when you've got people, when they do finally step forward and say, we're brave enough to get this done.
You're very clear-eyed here, saying there is a solution and it's very easy. We just need to come to the table and talk. Do you think people right now, politicians, aren't coming to the table to talk about this because we're living in such a deeply divisive, partisan time right now?
Well, I think it matters. Although it's not the first time we've had difficulty solving problems. But people have opposition to all kinds of things, and the solution to Social Security, as I said, Republicans say, "Oh my God, I don't want a tax increase." You can't solve it without a tax increase. Well, I don't want a benefit cut. The Democrats will say, "But you can't solve it unless you do." It's not going to ruin the country. Quite the opposite. We're going to be borrowing substantially less money, and more importantly, we're going to be able to say to our children, to our grandchildren, we don't just talk about you. We've covered the cost. We're doing this for you. We're not doing this for us. We recognize that we might win by a smaller amount in the next election. We might even lose the next election. But again, I remind those 535 members of Congress, I'm sure all of them watched the D-Day celebrations and the memories brought forth by these old men who paid the price. And we praise them. We recognize the courage it took. If you want to be remembered for having done something that required courage, you need to do something that requires courage, or you won't be remembered for it.
Who do you think is better equipped when it comes to handling the national debt, decreasing the national debt, President Biden or former President Trump?
Oh, I think Biden. I mean, Biden's having difficulty answering the question, but he didn't go to immigration as a solution. No, I think Biden is much more likely in the end, when you get to a point where you got to decide what you're going to be for, to make those reasonable adjustments so those 40% of Americans who only have Social Security get a little bit more than they currently do. So yes, I trust Joe Biden more than I trust Donald Trump at the moment.
What are your thoughts on what the former senator had to say about Social Security? I think most people have bad things to say about Social Security than good things. It is a really messed up system, needs a big facelift. So anyways, let's get back to this article. Harris, Trump lob Social Security Medicare claims. What is being said? What are they saying about each other? Well, in every presidential election, Democrats and Republicans lob charges and claims about the venerable old age program, Social Security, and Medicare. Older Americans are more reliable voters, and these types of attacks, which at the fact checker we call metascare, appear to have resonance, but don't always hold truth. So let's go over what was said here. So first we'll talk about what, according to this article, is false about what President, or I guess VP Harris, or what do you call her? VP Harris, presidential candidate Harris, said about former President Trump. Getting confused with all these titles here. All right, so his extreme 2025 agenda will weaken the middle class. We know we need to take this seriously. Can you believe they put that thing in writing? Read it. It's 900 pages, but here's the thing. When you read it, you will see Donald Trump intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. So that's not true. You don't need to be on the left or the right to know that that is false. So yeah, that's actually a false claim. They point out the facts here. There is nowhere in that it'll say that Social Security and Medicare will be cut. What's said here is her comment about cutting Social Security and Medicare is pure misinformation. The mandate makes tweaks to Medicare, but it really can't be called a cut. The mandate also never calls the cut finding for Medicare. Mostly it advocates to push Medicare Advantage, which is the private sector piece of Medicare that we think works more efficiently. So that's that. Let's go on to what former President Trump said. It's a very long article. I just want to keep it short for you. All right, so what he says here: I will not raise the retirement age of Social Security by 1 day, not by 1 year. We're not going to raise it at all. You can bank on it. You can bank on it. They're going to raise it. They're going to raise it way up. So that's what Trump said. Again, this is sort of questionable because a lot of the Republicans want to raise the retirement age. Even Democrats want to raise the retirement age. So this is a bold move coming from Trump. Now, when he says that they're going to raise it, referring to the Democrats raising the Social Security age, that's a possibility. Actually, Democrats and Republicans are talking about raising the retirement age. Trump is taking a bold stance saying he will not raise it. So that's a big move right there. Also, all right, here's the claim against Harris. As vice president, she even cast the tie-breaking vote to cut Medicare by $237 billion. Your Medicare. And remember, Social Security is going to be wiped out because she's going to put the illegals coming into our country into that system. It's going to wipe out that system. You're not going to have Social Security. You're not going to have Medicare. Now, when it comes to the cut to Medicare of $237 billion, now it's a big claim. So what was said here is Harris cast a tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, a catch-all bill that included provisions to lower prescription drug costs for seniors, such as imposing a monthly cap of $35 for insulin and requiring the federal government to negotiate to lower the prices of some drugs. So how is this cutting Medicare? It's not. The $237 billion figure refers to a 10-year estimate by the Congressional Budget Office that these drug provisions will reduce the federal budget deficit. In other words, this is a good thing and not a cut. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Belle's tip of the day, and what I want to tell you is always stay happy. Always be glad for your family, because your family is the ones who made you and made you. So everybody, hope you have a good July 4th. Bye! Now?
If you want to see the latest Social Security updates for increases and reform and enhancing benefits, you're going to want to click this video over here as I go over the latest updates for Social Security. So click that video now and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.